here we are again. Once again, making controller videos. I can't stop making controller videos, but it's something that I really enjoy. You have seen on this channel that I have had quite a few experiences with controllers already, and especially when it comes to these high-end, like couple of $100 controllers, I get really finicky about how I feel about them. But today, November 5th, 2024, I've been targeted. The ads got to me. I've been talking about getting a new controller forever. I just finished playing New World last night, and my Elite Series 2, which has been through the ringer, has been jacking up on the bumpers. So I was like, you know what? It might be time for me to go ahead and consider it. And all of a sudden, I get a little ad for the Razer Wolverine Ultimate 3. And ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about this one because this one is really good. There's been a lot of controllers out since I was first looking around when I first had my Elite Series 2, and I was messing around with the God, what is that one brand called? The Power A controllers. When I was messing around with the Power A controllers, and I was using theirs, and they did a couple of upgrades when they went to the next edition from the Xbox One to the Xbox One X. They upgraded that whole controller line too, so that was really, really nice. But before that was, and still is, honestly, one of my personal favorite recommendations when you're looking for a budget controller that has a lot of high-end controller features and that does them well enough to make it, passable, because you have a lot of jank controllers out there. We know that there's a lot of mock-ups out there. What has always gotten me about the Elite Series 2 is just how premium it feels, and just the way that you have your thumbsticks. They click in and click out. Listen to that. Having the thumbsticks click in, click out, being able to change out all of your parts, being able to change out your D-pad, how you can tighten down the thumbsticks and get them to a nice precision tension, and all of these little details that an average gamer just isn't going to think about. But there are people like me that like just to have things a little bit finer when it makes sense. Now, what we have on here is the Razer Wolverine Ultimate, the first one. That's why I have it up in the back, because I want you to see how far Razer has come with coming out with this V3 edition. And this first controller is just, it was not it for me. It was, when I was looking around, I remember exactly what turned me off. First of all, it had to be wired, which isn't a problem if you've seen the Power A Fusion controllers. Those weren't the problem, but here it is. This is the problem. It's coming up. Oh, what are those? Like, oh my God. Disgusting. Absolutely. As a paddle enthusiast, I cannot get behind vertical paddles to save my life. I don't know what orangutan fingers you gotta have to reach that, but that is the most annoying thing I've ever seen in my life. So I am a very big fan of the Elite Series 2 paddles, and that's what drew me to the Power A's, is that they basically were an Elite knockoff, and they had the paddles as well. The one thing I don't like about using paddles is the fact that they snap off really easy. Like, they will just fall out whenever you drop the controller, and they are kind of awkward to get back in, and that's just a piece of tech or a piece of engineering that hasn't really gotten more simplified yet. So I can't really knock them for it, but in order to get this shape, to have this snap into the back, I prefer to have that all day long. I don't mind having that trade out. But when it comes to another controller, and the only other thing that I think is worse than vertical, actually, I think vertical back buttons are the absolute worst design. But the other design I don't like is when they take buttons. So I'm thinking like, who is it that makes the other controllers? We're gonna go look real quick. They were Scuff used to be such a well-renowned brand. Like, I never thought that I would be looking at Razer stuff more than I'd be looking at Scuff way back in the day. Scuff used to have a chokehold on the market, but if we look at Scuff real quick, and this is their reflex, right? So look at this. They do the paddles, but they do them as buttons, and they're still vertical. They still go down. So I don't know who has a grip that's like that, and I do like that this kind of controller does exist on a higher end because we all do have different grips. But mostly, my problem is one, that they're vertical, and two, that they're still buttons. I feel like I just can't get my fingers to press all the way sometimes, and especially when I'm moving fast and I'm just going between all different types of buttons. I think that I just have a problem with putting enough pressure down to activate a button. So another thing I like about the paddles is that it's such a fine movement to activate a paddle. You don't really have to put much energy into it. So that was my whole issue with the Wolverine. Now, going to the new Wolverine, the V3, check this shit out. Look at this thing. This is a beauty. Now, I'm not too sure I'm a fan of the shape. I will already go ahead and say that. The shape is a little too... I feel like it's going to be small, and it seems real smooth and it seems real slick. So I like the controller to have just a little bit of edge to it. They do have some grips that they sell that you can put on the sides of these, which I will probably partake in myself. But this edition is completely wireless. Now, the way they achieve that wirelessness is, I'm not a big fan of it either, but we'll get to that when we get to it. And this edition is $200. So, yeah, it's up there. It's punching weight with the Elite Series 2 fresh. A fresh Elite Series 2, like with the case and everything and all the parts. Those are about $189 at the time of recording. But if you were to get a Elite, I believe they're called the Cores, and if you were to get an Elite by itself and it's just the base controller, no packaging, no nothing, that's about, I want to say that's like closer to the 100 range, like 1 to 150, somewhere in that range. It's significantly less than getting the whole big bundle, and that's what I was going to do when I was on the verge of replacing this. But I'll tell you why. I would consider, instead of getting a $100 controller for a controller that has served me well for a long time, to going to the Razer, this right here, Hall Effect Precision Thumbsticks. Hall Effect Thumbsticks on a pro controller, a premium pro controller. We finally have it. It exists. Here it is. I'm nerding out on this real bad, but this right here means something to me. Like, you don't understand. We've had Hall Effects on, there's like a $50 controller that's been floating around. I got a buddy of mine, he really likes his, but I don't like that one because I think it's still wired, and I play in the living room. I got a kid running around. I had to drop my Fusion Pro because of that fact, because I couldn't have my kid running over the cable all the time when I wanted to game. So now, and I got cats too. I mean, the cats are just all over the place. But now, I use my Elite, and I haven't wanted to put my Elite down. My Elite has had controller stick drift for a good few times. But what I've done to bypass that now is there is a cleaner. In post editing, I'll pop it up on screen so you can see it. But there is a cleaner that you can use that is safe for all electronics, and it looks like WD-40, but it's green and white. And you just have the little straw. It works the same way. You spray it all underneath. I would peel off when it got really bad. I'd peel off the faceplate and I'd really get up in there. But you just spray it, let it leak out the back. I would do it on the triggers and everything too, and it would fix my stick drift. But now it's getting to the point where there is a mechanical issue with my bumpers, and there's just nothing that cleaning regularly can fix. It definitely makes the problem less noticeable. Either way, there's still mechanical parts. That's the whole point. There's mechanical parts is how original joystick design works, and that's what caused your stick drift. I have a whole video on it. You can check it on the channel where I broke it down and what happened with the stick drift. And I forgot what the name of that tool is. It's some really long name, but basically it's just a metal on metal connection, and this is a very caveman explanation of it. Like a metal on metal connection that has some kind of adhesive or something in between that helps keep it from wearing out. But as it wears out, you get a thinner and thinner layer of that adhesive, and to the point where you're just constantly making contacts. and you're constantly activating where your stick is moving or you don't want it to move, and that's what causes the drift. Now, Hall effects are completely magnetic, completely magnetic. So the whole point is that stick drift effectively no longer exists with this kind of technology, with this kind of engineering, because the parts will never ever touch. They're magnetic. It works off of, I believe, the resistance and force between when you're pushing the magnet one way to another. So once again, caveman explanation, but either way, the whole point is that stick drift will not exist. So we have that in a pro controller. We also have, here's the double kicker, we have buttons that are shaped like ding 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 paddles. Buttons that are shaped like paddles. So finally, the engineering exists where I can have a paddle design without the flaw of having a loose paddle, like paddles flying off my controller if I drop my controller, or when I'm playing, or if I get bumped or something, it'll come off the back. That doesn't exist anymore. It's just the buttons on the back. Now, I hope that the buttons don't have too much resistance to them to definitely be less comfortable than a regular paddle. Say it like that. Now, that's something that I would have to expect. That has to be a little bit of give and take in order to have it completely encapsulated like that. But, it is what it is. The third biggest thing that they have on here is another design that I've seen pop up a lot more, which is these claw grip additional trigger buttons. Now, I don't know exactly where I would use this. I would like to experiment with it and see if it can increase, like, just some options I would have. Now, that's why I originally got into having paddles, is so I can replace having to press the buttons up top and not take my thumb off of the thumbstick. That's why I use paddles, so I can use A, X, and Y. I don't use B. There's hardly a time that a B pops up in a game, and if I do, I just reach for it. It's usually nothing too important, but for some reason as well, I can't train myself to use the fourth paddle. It just makes my finger feel weird. But anywho, that's just me on my weirdness. But I would like to see how, if I'm not using this fourth button down here, how that could help me up here, and see if I can get the dexterity to just reach over and press another button. Because you've got a lot of index finger. You have much more dexterity in your index finger than you do with these are your ring fingers, is that I'm pressing paddles with. Ring fingers and the occasional middle finger. But mostly all the work when you're gaming is in your index fingers and your thumbs, and that's it. So we might have some new training going on, new carpal tunnel just dropped. I don't know. We'll see. But also they advertise it for claw players too, which, if you don't know what playing claw is when my buddy that plays claw is going to clown me for this because I have no idea. But it's something like, God, I feel like a velociraptor. It's something like this, where you use your middle finger to press buttons, and then you have your index finger for these buttons up here, and then you have your thumbstick. And that's where they have the claw extra button. I'm assuming that's to take some of the fatigue off of your index finger to press some of these buttons. So I don't know. I may be tripping, but either way, claw, if you play claw, that's something that, could consider, and that's something that I would be interested to hear down in the comments, and if that's going to be something that would help you. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video to kind of go through my thought process with you guys on this and just show you how exciting it is, honestly, that this has even come into existence now, that we finally have a pro controller that is pretty much immune to stick drift. And on top of that, it has paddles like unlike any other pro controller that we've seen. It kind of has like the best of both worlds, in my opinion, for the paddles. So this may be, I'm going to just go ahead and say it, this may be the best controller for a long time. Like, maybe if they have this patented down and nobody else can kind of take this design, the only thing, it's already looking at me in this picture right here, that I think would knock them is the grip. If the grip does not feel good and it's too slippery, I know it can be remedied by getting the adhesive grips that you slap on there. But if this feels too slick and smooth for regular gameplay, that's going to kind of suck. That's not going to stop me from buying it, but that's going to be my biggest concern. That it may be something that they had to cut back in order to, save as much on cost as they possibly can. So, I'm going to invest into it. Oh, the third thing I completely forgot. Side note, PS. Right here, what you are seeing is a dongle, and that is how it connects to the PC and to your Xbox. I hate dongles. I'm going to let it be known right now. I cannot stand dongles. Now, the whole reason I liked how controllers work, especially the Elite Series 2, is that you pop it on, it works by Bluetooth, it has a direct connection to Xbox. I don't know what exactly happened there, because same thing with SteelSeries happened when they went into their new headset line after the Arctis Nova 9s or the Arctis 9X or whatever. At some point, Xbox was like, everybody's got to use a dongle now. We ain't giving you the sauce anymore, because now they have a dongle for that. This has a dongle so it can connect to Xbox, which I thought Xbox and Razer had a good enough relationship where it could get direct connection, but I guess I'm wrong. That's something that I'm not very much looking forward to, because dongles, I've had bad histories of them not working very well when it comes to the console. And the immediate thought is actually the headset that I have on right now, my Astro A30s. They have a dongle that works the exact same way. It splits between Xbox and it splits between the Xbox and the PC. And the issue that I had is that I could not get my headset to connect and stay connected without a lot of interruptions. But those are my thoughts. That's how I feel about this controller. I'm really excited for it. My birthday's coming up, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull the trigger on this one for you guys. A review will definitely be coming after I get a good, feel of it and understand how I like it. But I wanted to get this video out just because this is pretty exciting information. There's some pros, there's some cons to it, but this is something that is definitely going to change the way we look at controllers, and hopefully it'll, force the competition to step up their game and really jump in on this Hall effect technology, because that stuff it's game changing. It's no pun intended, but it's game changing. So thank you for coming by. If you want to catch me live and talk about this as well, I stream every Friday night right here on this channel, and you can catch all those links down below. Follow me on X, aka Twitter is what I'm going to call it, but follow me over there if you want to get live updates, as well as join the Discord, which you can find a link to that below. And hopefully sometime during those lives, we'll get some community members in there. But anywho, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for coming by. Peace.